On the way back from the National Museum, we're now heading to the suburb of Al Sib, and let's see what we have to see along the way. This is the city of Muscat in Oman. Very huge city. You know, if you come into the city from, for example, from Salalah, once you enter this Muscat city at the area of Nziwa, takes you about 3 hours just to crisscross from the edge of the city to get into the center of downtown. 3 hours drive, moreover at high speeds of 100 and 120. About 3 hours drive. Well, that kind of gives you a picture of how huge the city of Muscat is. You can see the Arab architecture, which influenced a lot of the architecture in towns like Mombasa, Dar es Salaam, Jinja in Uganda. This is the kind of Arabic architecture you can see over here. And there you have it, the Gulf of Oman. This is your chance to see the Gulf of Oman. Lots of similarity with some other places I've been to, which I won't mention here. Along this drive just to get a feel of the scenery and the beauty. Right now we're on this would be the busiest street. It's just that it's a public holiday, but for tourists,
this is not for a souk.
Oh yeah, this is where you find the souk. Now, if you don't know what a souk is a market. The main souk in Oman is found here. Now, those of you from East Africa, you know the word souk. Souk is similar to sokoni. Do you know what sokoni means? Well, sokoni means a market, and here it's called a souk. So we have lots of similarities between Arabic and Swahili. As you can see, souk for market, sokoni in Swahili. You have words like, this is the fish market opposite the fish souk here. You have words like kitab, which means a book, whereas in Swahili you say kitabu, or in Luganda you say chitabu. You have words like kalam, which is a pencil or pen in Arabic, and in Swahili you say kalamu. In Luganda you also say kalamu. You have words like chapati, which are the same in Arabic and Swahili. Chai, which is the same in Arabic, Swahili, and Luganda. You have words like mandazi, which is the same for a fried, a dough fried kind of donut. The same in Arabic, Swahili, and in Luganda. Yeah, so there are also relationships with the language of Hindi, because I've lived in India and I can tell you, here are some common words. In India, in Hindi, you say dunia, which means the world. It's the same in Swahili and in Arabic. You say dukan in Hindi. Do you know what dukan means? Well, it means a shop. So in Hindi you say dukan, in Swahili you say duka, in Luganda you say duka. You got words like sabun in Hindi. Sabun, I think you can guess what that means. In Luganda, sabuni. In Swahili, sabuni, for soap. You have words in Hindi like sigri. Those Luganda people can guess what that means. That's a charcoal stove. In Hindi, sigri. And in Luganda, sigiri. Okay? You have words like Mayambala in the language of Karnataka from Bangalore. You'll hear them shouting in the morning, the hawkers, Mayambala, Mayambala, Mayambala. Can you guess what that means? Well, those who know Luganda or Swahili, they're calling out, Miyembe, 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 Tutunda Miyembe, Hani Aragure Miyembe. In Hindi they go, Mayambala, Mayambala, Mayambala. Okay, what other words do we have? Let me think. You have in Hindi the word gari. That means a train. In Luganda you say gari o muka. And in Swahili, gari means either a bicycle or a car. Same in Luganda, gari is a car. So those are just a few words I've given you to show you some of the integration between Hindi, Swahili, and some of the Bantu languages. Now you're going to wonder, how did that come about? Well, we know the coolies were brought by the British from India, primarily to build the East African Railway that came from Mombasa all the way to Jinja at that time. And what happened is these coolies were brought from North India, and many of them got eaten by lions, the man-eating lions of the Savo. We have movies made about that in Hollywood, until they brought a British hunter expert to kill those man-eating lions, because the Indians had vowed not to go back to work, the coolies, unless they saw the heads of the lions. So only after they saw the heads of the lions did they go back to work. But even after they finished the East African Railway that started in Mombasa and ended in Jinja, lots of the coolies chose not to go back to India. I think they liked the climate in East Africa. They found it similar to the climate in parts of India like Kerala, where I've been several times, which is called God's own back country. Beautiful place in South India, one of my favorite places. So anyway, the coolies didn't go back to India, they stayed on. And when they stayed on, they decided to start small businesses. one thing led to another. They moved from one level to another, became very rich, started owning properties in Uganda. And so throughout the East African community, you had these wealthy Asians owning shops and businesses and factories. Some of them set up factories in towns of Jinja, because Jinja was a main industrial town, which drew Ugandan professionals from all over Uganda. I grew up in Jinja and went to school there at former international school, close to an international school, or predominantly Goan school later after the British left. Well, so the Indian community became rich and famous in East Africa until bad times befell the community in Uganda when the infamous dictator General Idi Amin Dada decided to expel them, giving them only 90 days to exit the country. Lots of them had to leave without any of their property, of course. Lots of them fled mostly to the UK. Others may have gone to Canada or America, but most went to the UK to start life from scratch, to pick up the pieces. However, during the times of the peaceful times of the current government in Uganda, they were re-invited to come back and claim their properties. And some of them did and were able to reclaim and start once again. So that's the connection. However, what's the Arab connection? Well, they intermarried the Bantu people in Africa, and this led to the Swahili people who speak the Kiswahili language. And so, to cut a long story short, these three peoples had interaction, and that's why you find similarities in certain words in Arabic, Hindi, and the Bantu languages of East Africa. Once again, this is the town of Muscat in Oman. This is the drive from the National Museum back through Al Kuwait, which is kind of a business district. Al Kuwait is also the place where you're going to find most of the embassies. You find the Kenyan, Ugandan, no, there's no Ugandan embassy here, no longer. They have the nearest Ugandan embassy is in Saudi Arabia, or the next is in Abu Dhabi in the UAE. But you have the Tanzanian and Kenyan embassies here, and those of several other countries, like countries from West Africa, and of course the American and British embassies are all found in behind what you're looking at. Not right here anyway. It's a very affluent suburb, very, very beautiful. I won't take you through there today. Maybe I'll do that another time, so you get to see that very affluent suburb in which all the embassies are housed. Most of the embassies are housed here in the city of Muscat in Oman. We're approaching the suburb of Kuwait, Al Kuwait. Most of the towns begin with the name Al. It's quite similar to what you find in Bahrain, where I lived in Manama, Bahrain. A lot of the suburbs or schools started with the prefix Al, and a lot of the names, the cultural names or the lineages here also start with the prefix Al. That's the way they are able to identify what clan or lineage they are from. social education I'm giving you here. In my system and curriculum that I'm more acquainted with, would put that under individuals and societies, which is done from the start of the middle years program up to the graduation with the IB diploma. It is called individuals and societies. That's a whole discipline that you start from grade 6 or 7, 6 in most IB schools, and carry on with it all the way up to A-level graduation, which is at the level of the IB diploma, which both of my children have had the privilege of pursuing and scoring extremely well in their IB diploma results. Both of my students were on the principal's list in their school, and one of my students, my son, was also on the NHO Society, which nominated for the NHO Society, which recognizes outstanding academic achievement. My daughter was also a member of the Model United Nations during her, I think from her O-levels, or at least her first A-level year, she was on the Model United Nations, which mimics what you have in the United Nations and gives the students those global diplomatic skills, international skills. The Oman Arab Bank. You can see the beautiful monochrome culture, because only certain colors are allowed for the buildings. I've found that very relaxing, because as I drove back from work, I wasn't bombarded by too many colors. That always made my drive back home a very pleasant and relaxing and almost therapeutic experience. It wasn't a long drive, it's just about a 15 minutes drive. It was a 15 minutes drive from my workplace to my residence, but it was always something I looked forward to because of the therapeutic effect of a monochrome culture in the coloring of the buildings. We have 3 lanes. I can't show them to you because I'm not up front in the car, so I'm sorry you can't see the 3 lanes, but right now we're traveling on the 3rd lane, which is the fastest lane. And beware, you have to keep up with this lane, because if you're not up to it, you're going to cause multiple accidents. So the Omani people drive on the right side of the road, so they keep right. And the steering wheel in the cars, the steering wheels are on the left side. And once again, this is something you have to get used to if you're from a former British colony, because it's the opposite in former British colonies. You also have to be careful when crossing the roads here if you're from a former British colony, because we were taught to look left, right and left again in order to cross. I can tell you if you did that here, you'd get knocked. So here you have to look right, left, and then right again, because the cars, everything is reversed. That's my perspective on it. Muscat International Airport, but we're not taking that route. It's a very grand route. Right now, it's amazing. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lanes. So this part of the road has got 5 lanes. Now it's down to 3. As you can see, there's a lot of greenery in Muscat. You wouldn't believe it's a desert town. Whereas in some countries, they're cutting down trees. Well, it's the opposite here. Their campaign is to promote trees, and you can see the results. Plus, they have amazing ways of doing this. They have a piping network all over the city, underground. These pipes facilitate the watering of all the trees and shrubs and greenery. That's how they manage to have so much greenery in this Arab country in the Middle East. Greenery is even more than what you find in some countries in East Africa. Unbelievable, isn't it? Look at that, for example. Let you in on another video where you can see the absolute greenery of Salalah. I did show you a video, but that was very early in the morning, so you couldn't see much. But I'll let you in on another video of Salalah, or the drive from Salalah. You won't believe the greenery and the mist and fog. It's not something you'd expect in the desert countries. Actually, when I was landing in Salalah that time, for the first time as we approached the airport, I could not see the town of Salalah. You couldn't see it, even as you dropped in meters from the sky. You were not able to see the town of Salalah because the windows were all covered with fog and dripping, and water, rainwater dripping down. For the first time in my life, my entire life, I was not able to look out of the plane onto the town that I was landing in. It was not possible. I was only able to see the airport once the plane touched. We just passed a mall here. See the monochrome culture I'm talking about. Here also tend to be very huge. If you work here, if you worked at any of the colleges or schools like I have done, you'd be exposed to all these huge cars which come to drop off students. Lots of Mustangs and Hummers and huge Jeeps, and just think of any big car name, you'll find it here.
I don't know what that company is.
The Mustangs are many on the streets. Those of you who don't know what a Mustang is, well, go to my YouTube music channels, and I have a song there for you, Mustang Sally. Okay, I was performing at a restaurant in a tourist hill station in South India, and I performed the old 70s song, 60s song, Mustang Sally, which talks about a lady who bought a Mustang, and suddenly I think she wasn't aware of our relations anymore because she'd got a Mustang. Well, we have several of those Mustangs here on the highways. We've just passed the China market, okay, and going to end here with the China market. I'm going to stop the video here. And that was bits, just some bits of the city of Muscat. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Jean-Marie Musiai 5964, and that is Jean-Marie hyphen between the Jean and the Marie, and then Musiai 5964. No spaces between any of the letters.